It was the year 1965 when the number of immigrants from Asia to the U.S. drastically rose in numbers because of the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. Today, in countries like China, pollution and overpopulation are big issues. The Chinese government also claims it has a right to control the internet's content and that it doesn't infringe on the citizens' right to free speech. The Chinese immigrate to the U.S. because there are better living conditions and less censorship from the government. Other immigrants come from countries such as Afghanistan and Hong Kong because it is safer from things such as wars, better living conditions, and police brutality. One New York Times article states that protesters in Hong Kong during a demonstration in June were tear-gassed, beaten, and dragged by the police. Many say that police used excessive force and violated certain human rights. Another main reason people immigrate to the U.S. is that there are a lot more job opportunities than in Asia. Many immigrants from Asia take a plane or a boat to the U.S.
Most of them came from poverty and poor living conditions, so they can only afford business economy flights. They then arrive somewhere on the West Coast, such as California, Hawaii, and various other states.
Between 1910 and 1940, many Asians were processed through Angel Island. Upon arrival, passengers would be separated by nationality. They then underwent medical inspection, and then they were detained for weeks because they didn't have enough funds to live elsewhere.
The living conditions in China are small cages packed in a room full of other people living in cages. In the U.S., the worst place you can find will be better by having more room and privacy. Since China has a good education system, getting a full-time job won't be easy, but it won't be hard as long as they know English.
Today, more immigrants are coming from the Middle East to the U.S. Some reasons why people are coming from the Middle East are because most countries are second and third world countries. War, terrorism, no education, sexism, cities in ruins, no jobs, unfair law system, no economy, and other reasons. Middle Easterns are one of the fastest growing immigrant groups in America. The population has grown from fewer than 200,000 in 1970 to more than 1.5 million in the 2000s. The INS estimated that about 1,500,000 or 10% of the immigrants are illegal. In the 2000s, an estimated 73% of Middle Eastern immigrants in America were Muslim. The other were mostly Christian or Christian ethnic minorities such as Armenians. In the Middle East, death sentences are considered normal, and over 78% of executions come from the Middle East from a 2018 study by Amnesty International. Also, a woman was stoned to death because she took off her hijab. In the U.S., there's jobs, equality, fair law system, homes, safe education, and other reasons.
It is hard coming to the U.S. from the Middle East, but it is doable. They would need to get a visa from their country, then they would have to save up enough money to afford a plane ticket here, which depending on their social class, this can be very hard.
Processing could take 11 to 22 months to register as a resident. Service centers in New York are in Albany, New York City, Long Island, and Buffalo. Arriving wouldn't be too hard, and Detroit has the largest concentration of Middle Eastern, followed by New York City. When immigrants move to the U.S., there are jobs, and even though they don't have great pay, they can get a part-time job in fast food chain or a gas station. They can work there, and until they get an education and a degree, they could get a full-time job. This sounds hard, but it isn't, since 49% got a bachelor's degree here, and there's a little evidence of discrimination in jobs according to the CIS. In the Middle East, women are banned from certain areas and doing certain things, so they would want to move to the U.S. Most states ban death row, and even states that have it don't use it. Religion is a big part of most countries in the Middle East, but in America, religion doesn't matter, nor does it hold the way it does in the Middle East.